Hey everyone, welcome back to another exciting episode of Total Running Time, your number one choice on iTunes, Zune, YouTube, and Facebook for great movie reviews, news, actually plot outline, kind of destroying things, whatever we do here on Total Running Time, or whatever I do here on Total Running Time. But anyway, this episode, we are going to be talking about another Rodriguez film. This time, we're talking about The Faculty. Now, I don't know if you guys saw this movie when it came out back in like 1998, but it was pretty dope, and I loved it quite a bit. It was Rodriguez's, I believe, not first studio film, but it was like right around the time like From Dusk Till Dawn. No, it can't be. It was before then. So it was after From Dusk Till Dawn and after Desperado, and it was towards the end of the 90s, and he was working with Dimension and stuff quite a bit. So they brought him in to do this movie. Now, this movie was written by Kevin Williamson, who did Scream 1, 2, and 3 and is writing Scream 4. He also made Vampire Diaries, so if any of you watch that show and it's any good, let me know, because I like Williamson, but I'm not eager to go down like something that could be considered like pseudo TV Twilight, so F that. And yeah, so the movie stars Josh Hartnett, like way back when, Elijah Wood, Jordana Brewster, Clea Duvall, Robert Patrick, Famke Janssen, Baby Newirth, Salma Hayek, because, friggin' Rodriguez uses Salma Hayek and everything. Usher, Jon Stewart, Jon Stewart, of all things. And it came out, December 25th, 1998, and its budget was only $15 million, and that's pretty low, and it grossed only 40, but that's 40 for the 90s, right? It was cheaper then. So, like, can anyone out there do, like, a comparison, do, like, an updated, like, for in today's monetary times, whatever that term is called at the moment, I forget. But you guys know what I'm talking about. You guys know that it would be a lot more. I'd say probably, what, like 80, 90 million, if that was the case, So yeah, let's get into it a little bit. We're talking about The Faculty, so let me get you guys through the plot before I go into my review. At Harrington High School, faculty and staff are being taken over by alien parasites. A ragtag group of 6 students from a former resistance cell. There is Zeke Tyler, a loner repeating his senior year because he didn't care about graduating, whose parents travel constantly, so as to get away from their big bastard mistake. He sells, among other illegal items, like a cocaine-like drug of his own creation to his fellow students. There's Stan Rosado, who is a jock who decides the senior year to quit the football team and focus on his academics. Stan's girlfriend, Delilah Prophet, is a popular, vindictive girl who's the editor-in-chief of the student paper. Casey Connor is an outcast picked on by the students at Harrington. He is a photographer for the paper and has a crush on Delilah. Stokes Mitchell is a female outcast and literary buff who, despite her claims as a lesbian, has feelings for Stan. Mary Beth Louise Hutchinson is a new girl at school who came from Atlanta to live with her relatives because her parents died in a car crash. She befriends Stokes and has a crush on Zeke. The aliens take over the school, do so by injecting a parasitic organism into the ear, which takes over the brain and creates what appears to be a different version of the person, one that desires to spread the parasite as much as it can. The faculty sends the entire student body to the nurse one by one for ear inspections, where they are taken over. Casey figures this out and soon warns the other 5. During a meeting, Mr. Furlong, the science teacher, enters the room and attempts to infect them with the alien. Zeke pulls out his pen filled with the drug and jams it into Furlong's eye, which then dries out the alien inside of him, as the drug is a diuretic, and the alien requires excessive amounts of water to cope with life on Earth. Thus, they all leave the school, which has become completely infected. Only 6 of them remain uninfected. They go to Zeke's house with a sample of the parasite. Stokely speculates that destroying the queen alien will kill all the parasites without killing their victims. Soon, the group becomes suspicious of each other, each of them citing actions such as Stan's recent shift from football to academics and Casey's sudden courage as potential evidence that they aren't who they say they are. They each take turns snorting the drug to prove that they have not been infected. When Delilah's turn comes, she snorts the drug and a parasite crawls under her skin, revealing that she had already been infected. She then destroys most of Zeke's supply of the drug, as well as his equipment for producing it, before escaping. The remaining 5, with what is left of the drug, go to the school where the entire town is watching the football game. They believe Principal Drake to be the queen, and they succeed in killing her, but the other hosts remain unaffected. The five send Stan to investigate the field, and Stokely and Stan share their first kiss. Stan subsequently becomes infected, and he goes into the field because they ran out of their supply of the drug. Zeke and Casey decide to go to Zeke's car for more. Mary Beth and Stokely wait inside the school gym for their return, while Casey serves as a decoy. Zeke goes to his car. There he encounters Miss Burke. He seemingly kills her, but now her alien physiology allows her to survive what would otherwise be a fatal injury. Mary Beth reveals herself to be the queen alien she had escaped snorting the drug by biological trickery. She came to take over Earth as her own planet is dying. She chases Stokely and Casey. Stokely is badly injured, then infects Zeke, who is then infected, and Zeke is knocked out in the locker room. Casey returns back to the gym area and tricks the alien into following him. Behind the now closing bleachers, the machinery traps that used to be Mary Beth, and Casey jams the last of the drug into Mary Beth's eyes before being infected himself, killing her. With Mary Beth dead, Casey and the rest of the parasites die, and the students and teachers all return to normal. After this, the group shows big changes, including the faculty. Zeke applies his genius to schoolwork and joins the football team, and seems to be dating Miss Burke. Coach Joe Wills is still coaching the football team. Stan and Stokely become a couple and share their second kiss. Delilah and Casey do the same. They share their first kiss. Casey's more accepted at school, with various papers talking about his extraterrestrial encounter, despite the official denial of the FBI, and Delilah is no longer vindictive. In the background of the final scene, students are seen bullying another student in the same way they picked on Casey. During the credits, it is seen that Mr. Furlong has survived, although missing an eye, which he was earlier stabbed, and some fingers on his right hand. And that is the end of the faculty. So if looking at the storyline, it's basically Invasion of the Body Snatchers with a 90s twist, drug twist and stuff like that. I mean, if you look at Danny Masterson was in this, played Hyde on that 70s show, and that 70s show came out not too long after the fact of this movie, and so Josh Hartnett was kind of the bad boy back then. This is before Pearl Harbor, and this is definitely before they made Lord of the Rings. So Elijah Wood was known, more for being North and the Good Son and those kind of things. Jordana Brewster went on to go do Fast and Furious. She hasn't really done much else since then, with the exception of, I think, being on Chuck. Clea Duvall was in a series of films in the late 90s, early 2000s, where they wanted, if you go back and watch She's All That, she was kind of like the bitch. She kind of looks like Pink, but a much more non-attractive version of Pink. Laura Harris, Smoking Hot Blonde, Down South. I haven't seen her in much. I know she was in Suicide Kings and a couple other things. That kind of went from there. Sean Hattasey, whatever. He did a couple other teen comedies, teen movies, and then kind of backed out. Robert Patrick, of course, is a T-1000. We all know him from Terminator. Dogged on X-Files. You still see him occasionally from time to time. Famke Jensen. Yeah, X-Men. Hey, she 2 years later, she went on to go do freaking, Jean Grey and stuff. And Baby Newirth was smoking hot. She's she's in her 50s, but damn. Salma Hayek, kind of downplayed it. Usher was in the movie only as a little bit, just as a radio DJ, and Jon Stewart being Mr. Furlong, and this is around the same time he did Half Baked, and then Big Daddy, so he was kind of coming out, emerging on the scene as that. But I liked it. It was a good sci-fi film, a good sci-fi movie that it was meant to be for the teen crowd, and it worked. I don't think they could get away with doing this kind of stuff, here just 12 years later. I don't think they could really pull off this kind of effect. But it's one that, if you haven't seen it, I really highly recommend it. I think you guys should go check it out. It's on, Netflix, is on DVD. I don't think it's on Blu-ray yet. But if you've seen it and you like it, post. Let us know. Post on 2 Buck Theater, because you'll see the post on the page. And then, of course, we'll go from there. So, all right, guys. Thank you very much. Check out 2 Buck Theater. That's facebook.com/2 Buck Theater. Eventually, I'll probably buy a domain name, but for it. Also, this episode is brought to you in part by scriptsnotes.com. You can get great low-budget screenplays for a good price, as well as custom screenplays, cheaper than you think, and all written professionally and very fun to make. I've actually made a couple of them myself, so they're good. I like them. And then also monsters.com, a great, low-cost card game for kids that mixes war with a dice game. It's fun, it's addictive, it's easy to learn. Monsters, vsmonsters.com. All right, guys, we'll see you next week on the show.